Hey guys, um, I'm so sorry for not uploading. Last week, I was meant to do a Wednesday, Friday, and I ended up uploading this Monday instead of the Friday last week. I was just so ill and so busy, and Ramadan had just started, and it was a lot. So, I think when I went out with Leah after that, I had become really ill because before that, I had family over, and I ended up catching a cold because those children, my sister's kids, are my nieces and nephews. They were really ill and they were all up in my bed, which I just didn't need them to be. But anyway, we're back in business, so that's a good thing. I'm really excited. This is going to be more of a chill video. I don't have anything particularly planned. I just wanted to make some content and get something out there. Um, but I have my Kindle with me, so hopefully I can go through and read out some quotes and things that I found really interesting. This is going to be more of an R.F.Kuang video. Rebecca F. Kuang. I don't know who, I don't know why. The video just began and I'm already fucking it up completely. So, because I want to go over things that she's like written about and like her style of writing and what I find interesting right now because her and Brando Sando are like my favorite authors right now, and I'm really, really interested in their style of writing. I just love fantasy so deeply, and I'm super excited to carry on with the series and also for Brando Sando. I'm actually on Well of Ascension. I'm nearly halfway through the book, which is around 34 chapters. Um, I think I'll talk about that more in the next video once I finish the book. But I have some theories brewing. But I read the back of the book because I go into books without reading the blurb. If I like the book and the cover and I know the author, I'm gonna just like commit. But with, and that's the same thing with him. But if I'm walking through Waterstones and I like want to read a new book and I'm like looking for something, then I'll be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll read the blurb of this and then properly engage if it's an author I've never read before. I have Arcanum Unbounded on here as well. Let me show you. So I've got those up there. Some of the physical books I have in real life, but I also have on Kindle because when I'm traveling or I get lazy to like pick up the physical book, I'll just have it on here and it's so much easier to read. I love it. I read Babel on here. I have the physical copy though. I wish I got like the black and gold copy. Looks so good. So, so, so good. So yeah, I'm already opened up to chapter 28 because of how incredible, like it ramps up. So okay, so one of the main characters, my favorite character that I can relate to, he's Indian and Muslim. We love a brown babe and I love him so much. Sorry if I'm like sniffly and it just sounds weird. um he's very relatable, love him so much. He gets he gets shot and killed. Not fun. But he does die. um yeah, that hit me like a ton of bricks and I was not prepared for it at all. Like I was not prepared for it at all. Um when Letty killed him, I was distraught. That was my initial, like that was all I could think about for the rest of the book, and it got worse. Like I didn't think it would get more tragic. She writes tragedies, like R.F. Kuang writes really dark tragedies. At the end of the book, um Robin also sacrifices himself for a great cause. And I think a really I will read out quotes, but I think a really beautiful part was like it's just I love how they all love each other, their friendship, the girls with the boys as well, and them coming from different backgrounds. Unfortunately, Letty did like a fucking, you know those white feminists, There's typical like white people that say they're activists but just aren't. That's what she's the depiction of that. She gives in very easily, and point Leah made, which is really good, like really interesting that we were on FaceTime, is that she kind of she had to work and had um not such an easy upbringing as everyone else. Like she
Womp
didn't get
womp. What a fucking
the
idiot. I
same
mean, come
privileges
on.
as everyone else, and I think that made her be like view them as ungrateful and question why did they choose to not side with her and abandon Babel and all these things, and she was questioning it. I think her character is so interesting. Okay, so yeah, their love, like their, I think one key thing that I realized is like their perspective on their own oppression and the world and the views in the world around them from having such different, individually different backgrounds, and how they want to choose to live their life. And you, it's incredible. Like she's able to write a book with mainly one person's perspective, and it just it's it's incredible because you understand on such a deep level all of them and why they might behave and act and make the decisions that they made. Because Victoire, she's from, like, I think she's French, right? But she's African. So it's like, and then Rami's like Indian Muslim, and they all came to this country. And then where's Robin from in China specifically? Um, Canton. He's from Canton, and I think I'm not sure of his religious beliefs, but Victoire even did a piece. I think she wanted to do her dissertation on um I can't remember what it was. Was it like specific religious or spiritual beliefs of her own people and her own tribe? Anyway, stuff like that. And it's just like, and the reason why it came to light even more was the end of the book when Robin says to her, like, it's okay, like, go live your life and go live freely and go be an example that you can survive this type of world and this type of oppression and the experiences that you've gone through, and you can live a happy life. Like people that look like you and have the same background as you can live and be happy and be free, and you can set that example and go. And then Robin sacrificed himself and took down all the buildings and did this and da da da, and they were in it to win. Once Rami died, they kind of just said, "Get, we're gonna do it," and that's so beautiful. But like Letty, like trying to convince them at the end, like she genuinely thinks that being on the side of the oppressors and just getting those breadcrumbs of working at Babel would be better than being a free person and or dying freely, dying for what they believe is right. And in her mind, she thinks they're crazy for doing what they're doing, but she hasn't experienced what they've gone through and being stripped away from their motherland. And there's also another quote. I don't know if I tabbed it. I don't think I did. I think Leah did. I'm not sure which chapter it's in. It's quite early on in the book, but Leah like said it was like Letty saying, "You don't what motherland? Like you don't have a motherland. Like this is your home now. Like this is you don't need like a motherland. You don't need a motherland. That doesn't exist. You're British now. Like you speak English fluently and Latin and da da da. Like who cares?" Um, and she was trying to justify the pain that was, put on them, and the abuse that they had to face was like all worth it because they're at Babel now, and it strips them of their identity. And like I think it was Rami, or was it Robin, that was like, shut up, first of all. Like who you like what do you mean? That's my people. That's from where I'm from. I was taken against my will to be here. And obviously, when Professor Playfair died as well, it's insane to me that, like, he went to multiple different countries, travels the world, has sex with these random women as an experiment to then bring these children back and train them to become civilized. That's legit the main basis of the story. Oh, and I keep saying Babel, it's Babel. It's Babel, but they call them babblers in the book. Babblers representing the fact that they speak multiple languages. All these other things are mixed into it. So again, sorry if I sound really muffly. Trying not to. God help. So chapter 28 is where my Kindle opens me up to, because I kept rereading chapter 28 all the way to the end. I've read it like 3 times. I might as well put it down that I've read the book again, because I even read some of the beginning. I feel like it counts as me having read a book this month already, and it's the 5th. And I'm halfway 2 other books, so I'm hoping by the end of this week I would have finished both books. What I really like is a quote from Wordsworth, The Prelude. It's obviously every chapter opens up with like a really interesting quote and something meaningful and beautiful. Um, and I like at the end of the book as well, there's like a whole diction of everything that she references, mentions, and like a footnote of like important information, explanation on like mathematical stuff or any linguistic information needed, general context, historical context of certain things, like it's all there. Let's get into the quotes and then I'll link it to Yellowface because it's still relevant in terms of her style of writing, which I think which I mentioned in like 2 videos ago, how incredibly important her work is and why she writes the way she writes, like why she um has the endings, like her endings specifically, why they end the way that they do. I think people will get into it. We'll get into it. Like Yellowface, I said it could have been a novella, but I disagree with myself. It needed to have that long-winded, jarring explanation. That's like the mundane stuff of life. It felt like the pace of life and those jarring experiences. So I think it was written well for that, to carry that message and that feeling across. And again, that kind of links to how I feel about her endings, especially with the yellow face. So we'll get into that. Look how big her footnotes are. This woman was not playing. When she wrote this book, she's like, you need to buckle up. Yeah, I think they add a great touch and it's like of character to her writing. I mean, it really shows how much she cares and how much um thought and goes into her writing basically. So I found some of the quotes. Victoire found him on the rooftop, hugging his knees to his chest, rocking back and forth to the sound of gunfire. She sat down beside him, bored with legal terminology. It feels like a game, he said. It feels ludicrous, and I know this, all of this, was ludicrous to begin with. But that, talking about after, just feels like an exercise in fantasy. You have to believe there's an after, she murmured. They did. They were better than us. They were. She curled around his arm, but it all still wound up in her hands, didn't it? They're just kids, man. Oh my god. And then the ending, so it looks like this. Chapter 30, Westminster Bridge fell. That's the whole chapter. That's the whole chapter. And I knew as soon as I read that, the waterworks really, really started amping up. And it was too much for me. I was like, oh my god. I got really emotional. And then it opens up again in chapter 31 with Westminster Bridge fell and Oxford broke out in open warfare. This is the sad, dark part. Good, said Robin. As long as the barricades hold. Victoire was watching him with narrowed eyes, and he knew that she suspected, that she did not weigh on his conscience at all, that he wasn't nearly as distressed as the others. Well, why not admit it? He was not ashamed. He was right. This girl, whoever she was a symbol. She proved that Empire had no restraints. The Empire would do anything to protect itself. Go on, he thought. Do it again. Kill more of them. Turn the streets red with the blood of your own. Show them who you are. Show them their whiteness won't save them. And I think a lot of people forget the difference between being white and having whiteness. And even Robin's whiteness is explored in this book and shown because he is white passing and the privileges he gets from whiteness as well.
What I'm trying to say is that whiteness isn't limited to the color of your skin. Whiteness is the like power and influence and the money and the social status that you hold, your privileges that you hold. Things that are considered whiteness might be things like ballet and being able to indulge in certain hobbies and interests because of your cultural upbringing and your social environment, like ballet and museums and come under whiteness. Having access to those things is whiteness. It's a form of privilege. Oh my god, cannot speak. I hope you guys understand. That's my my 2 cents on my A level um sociology class right there. Also, when you study English literature and also when you do language and linguistics, which is what I do, which is why I'm so passionate about Babbel, because it's literally linguistics and that's exactly what my degree is. That's why I love it so much. Anyway, back to a regularly scheduled program, as if editing this hour-long video isn't enough.
Victoire drew in a sharp breath. It was Letty. She waved a white flag. Pathetic. I hate that she keeps calling him Birdie. Like, Letty has no right to call Robin Birdie. Like, Rami's nickname to Robin was Birdie because his name's Robin. And that was their thing. And I hate that she took that. Like, she took everything from them as well. Like, she won't give them their freedom, or she says that, they don't have a motherland, for example. It's like she's stripping away their identity and then being able to fucking abuse that, like, that familiarity, that camaraderie, and that trust and safety by calling him Birdie, even though she's done everything that she's done to them. It's like, how sick in the head are you? Like, the audacity. But I think that's what it is. It's the fucking audacity. So insane. Okay, the end of chapter 33. I mean, chapter 32. Okay, this is like Victoire popping off. She fell against his shoulder. I'm really emotional. I'm actually gonna cry. Okay. She fell against his shoulder. He wrapped his arms around her and held her tight, rocking back and forth. I want to live, she repeated, and live and thrive and survive them. I want a future. I don't think death is a reprieve. I think it's just the end. It forecloses everything, a future where I might be happy and free. And it's not about being brave. It's about wanting another chance. Even if all I did was run away, even if I never lifted a finger to help anyone else as long as I lived, at least I would get to be happy. At least the world might be alright. Just for a day, just for me. Is that selfish? Her shoulders crumpled. Robin held her tight against him. What an anchor she was, he thought, an anchor he did not deserve. She was his rock, his light, the sole presence that had kept him going. He wished that was enough for him to hold on to. Be selfish, he whispered. Be brave. This whole chapter, one of the best things I've ever read. And I mean it. Incredible. People registered this, then nodded. Who's coming with us? Just two, Yusuf, Victoire. They're saying their goodbyes. They'll be ready soon. Robin pulled a wrapped parcel from inside his jacket. There's also this. He's saying he's not leaving with them. He's saying his goodbyes. But what struck him most just then was the beauty. The bars were singing, shaking, trying, he thought, to express some unattainable truth about themselves, which was that translation was impossible, that the realm of pure meaning they captured and manifested would and could not ever be known. What the enterprise of this tower had been impossible from inception. Well, how could there ever be an Adamic language? I always, that word, Adamic, don't know why I can't read it. For how could there ever be an Adamic language? The thought now made him laugh. There was no innate, perfectly comprehensible language. There was no candidate, not English, not French, that could bully and absorb enough to become one. Language was just difference. 1,000 different ways of seeing, of moving through the world. No, 1,000 worlds within one. And translation, a necessary endeavor, however futile, to move between them. Oh my god. Him reminiscing, dead. I'm dead. It's like I've known you forever. Me too, Rami said. Robin and Rami are so endgame. I love them. Robin shut his eyes and imagined his mother's face. She smiles. She says his name. Then we get Victoire's epilogue and we get to know a bit more about her background and her life and who she was and how she came into Babel more. Very heavy. Very, very heavy. I mean, all of it is heavy. Let's not get that twisted, but yeah. Wow. So now that that segment's over with, we can talk more about Yellowface. Yeah, Yellowface is very underrated, I would say, even though it's won an award as Book of the Year. The way people view that book and the ending of it, they think it's a bit um slower or not as in depth and as intelligently written as the rest of her book, and I would disagree. I think it's just as intelligent but just written formatted differently. Still gets across her point. She still explores different like topics in such a beautiful way, in such a fun and interesting way, but also in a dark way at the same time. Like it's all still so it's so well balanced the way she writes things. And her ending, it's like a circle of life moment. I don't even think it's one quote in particular. Let me just read out the last couple paragraphs of the last chapter. Um, the ending of the book is just whoa. Like you don't expect it to go that way, but I mean, how else do you expect it to go that way? Like, what else crazy is going to happen? I'm just going to briefly skim read a couple quotes from it. So, a month later, Candice sells her tell all memoir on proposal to Penguin Random House for a staggering 7 figures. They don't understand. It doesn't matter how well Candice can write. Who knows if she can string together a paragraph at all? It's hard to imagine a more total, eviscerating defeat. But my mind does a funny thing then. I don't spiral into despair. I don't feel the telltale symptoms of an incoming panic attack. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm utterly calm, zen like. I feel alive. I find myself composing sentences then, dreaming up terms of phrases, sketching out the contours of a counter narrative. I'm the victim of a dreadful hoax. I was cyberbullied, stalked, manipulated into thinking I was going mad. Candace Lee took my love for my deceased friend and turned it into something ugly and horrible. Candace is the one who exploited me for her art, not the other way around. The truth is fluid. The truth is fluid. Shut the up. The truth is fluid. This white bitch.
I will craft and sell a story about how the pressures of publishing have made it impossible for white and non-white authors alike to succeed, about how Athena's success was entirely manufactured, how she was only ever a token. So basically, you know when people call people industry plants? And then when I see other brown and black people hop on that, I'm like, unfortunately, I actually think you're just racist. I think most of you that say that are racist. I do. I really do. So then she goes on to say like how she's gonna write down her thoughts and try and plan everything out and pitch it as an idea for her next book, blah blah blah. Blah. Because editors who want to clickbait always solicit contrarian reviews. What if we got it all wrong? That's all it takes to sow doubt. The netizens who love to argue for the sake of arguing will look for the holes in Candace's story. The characters' assassinations will begin. We'll all get dragged down in the mud, and when the dust clears, all that will remain is the question: what if Juniper's song was right? And this will become, in time, my story once again. What an ending. Sorry guys, I'm trying to read, but I can't breathe through my nose. Sorry guys, I'm trying to read, but I can't breathe through my nose, so it's a struggle. So I might have to edit some of this really heavy. Yeah, because I have to keep rereading things because I can't speak. Oh my god, horrible. But yeah, I really wanted to get this video out. I'm filming it on Wednesday, so hopefully I can upload it, edit it, and upload it today. But yeah, it always goes back to poor white person at the end of the story, which is just pathetic. But here we are. Anyway, that's that part done. Really wanted to talk about that. So happy I did. Yeah. Daisy hates. Miss Daisy. All 20-year-old Daisy hates has ever wanted is a normal life. But as the sister of London's most notorious gang lord, she knows better than most that in this life everything comes at a price. I quite like her and Christian's romance, but I prefer Magnolia's and BJ's. But there's one man in this book I absolutely love, and it's her 30-year-old brother, Mr. Julian. I'm gonna king sob. I know I'm gonna sob, and I know I'm gonna miss him, and I know I love him so much. Can't wait to get to the third book. Super excited for the third book. I heard the fourth book has like some of the best quotes in it as well. My friends love Magnolia the most, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really excited to read Magnolia again. I think I'm gonna read Magnolia next week. But Valor comes first. I'm just gonna read that. And then The Toll, and then I'm gonna do Harry Potter. I might get the whole series by Brando Sando done. Might get Mistborn series done. I don't know why he changed Mistborn Final Empire to Mistborn for the first book. I quite liked Final Empire as the name actually. Personally, Parks. Parks does this thing where she goes overly in detail about what she's wearing, designer stuff, and da da da. That's like her thing. They do it in this book as well, but not as much. Whereas Daisy has like footnotes, so every time she's like says something or feels some way, she'll have multiple footnotes
explaining in more detail about something or about her thoughts and feelings. I can't completely put my finger on why, but I suspect all of the reasons are fear based. That's 193. And then 193 says fear of the track we're on, fear of losing him for good, fear of never having Christian at all. It's emotionally wrecked. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So stupid. But I never thought I'd be into romance, and this helped me get into it. I highly recommend. Also, Suzanne Collins. I'm so excited to buy the Hunger Games series. I've got the last book, which is considered the prequel, Songbirds and Snakes and Songbirds, whatever the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes or something. I don't even know. Why is the fucking name so confusing? I don't know. But I'm gonna get the rest of the other books. So gassed. So yeah, that's that. Valor, Fierce. Just started reading it. Not even halfway through. So you'll get an update soon about this in like another couple days. Maybe over the weekend I might film something. I have holidays, so I'm off. I don't have work. So I can do something on the weekend and not be shattered. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. That was kind of it for now. I think I'm going to go in more detail later on this week and actually properly review in depth Brando Sando's work as well. And hopefully go over Valor and Malice together. Um, yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like it's quite confusing to read these books because I'm in so many different fantasy worlds, but it's okay. I've put off reading The Toll and everything because there's so many fantasy books, but I am excited to deep dive back into the Scythe series. Not everything's organized, like, there's so much going on. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Um, that's the end of that. I don't really have an outro still. Like, this is me wrapping it up, and I hope you enjoyed it. Um, please like and subscribe. I always forget to mention it in every video, but I'm mentioning it today because it would definitely help a lot, and it's quite exciting seeing people like build a community and like start conversations and share their opinions about these certain books and what they would rate them. And if you've read these books, I would really appreciate just dropping a comment saying what you rated them. Um, and I'm gonna start doing more in-depth reviews on my Goodreads because normally I just rate them and I have a discussion with my friends about how good the books are, but I'll actually put more detailed descriptions of how I felt about the book and what the book entailed on my Goodreads. And I'll link that as well in the description so you guys can go follow, and I'd appreciate that so much. Anyway, bye!